Oh, brother, oh, brother, oh, brother. Good morning, good morning, good morning, and happy Wednesday, December the 10th, aka FOMC Day. Happy Fed interest rate decision day to all of you who celebrate, because we're about to get to the festivities. At 2 p.m. today, 2 p.m. Eastern, we get the Fed interest rate decision and the SEP, the Summary of Economic Projections. And then 30 minutes after that, at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, we hear from Powell himself. And of course, as you could already see, because we're expecting so much chaos and insanity within the financial markets today, I am clearly wearing my luckiest of all shirts, because I figure we could all use a little bit more luck today. So yes, we will have our quote unquote normal morning stream from 9 to 11. And then this afternoon, you could bet your bottom dollar that we're going to be streaming again because of the FOMC event. So you guys heard it right. 2 streams today, a double decker, a extended day. And thank you for being here at the crack of dawn, especially when you know that we're going to have a little bit of a marathon session today. So I'm very, very excited. Of course, we have some things to get into. Obviously, early today, I want to be prepping you up for what I see going on. I want to be basically calling out all the things that you should probably be paying attention to, not only with respect to the overall market and the Fed and what could be said, what might not be said, but also just a little bit of commentary on some individual equity stuff that I see going on as well. So I hope that sounds cool to you, but really, really important before we get into it. I was just talking in the Discord a little bit, and I kind of want to remind all of you guys in the audience that, remember, on days like today, if you don't have an edge, you don't have to trade. I mean, I guess if it comes to the world of like Apex or something, if you just want to get in your scalp trade, get in your scalp trade. Hey, I wish you all the power, have at it. I hope you absolutely crush it. But if today, like if just your system isn't firing, if there's too much range, too much volatility, if it's just not your day, that's all right. It's always completely acceptable to sit on your hands and kind of just watch the pandemonium around you, and then kind of maybe make your decisions and make your trades and make your investments after the dust settles. In the past, you guys have seen me do some really, really degenerate things on this day, but going through my trading journal, I realized that me trading on these types of days, yes, I do have some incredible winners, but I also have some horrific losers. And by the time it all nets out, this is actually a net losing day for me. I'm not saying I've lost on every FOMC day. In fact, I've had some very impressive recoveries. But when I look at all FOMC days in aggregate, it's a net loser. And then when I think about all the emotional capital and the stress and all of that involved, it's just not exactly my day. So I just want to put that out there, because maybe it's not exactly your day. Now, however, if you have a system and you're like, no, like I know I'm net ahead, I have the data, the statistics, the profits, the consistency to back it up, have at it. Don't let me get in your way. But I just want to remind you that not all trading days are built the same. And that means you don't have to trade every single day exactly the same. So just want to throw that out there. But hey, I guess when the tires hit the pavement and you just want to let it rip, hey, also let it rip, and don't let me get in your way of that. If you're looking to have some fun today, whatever you do, I wish you the best of luck. And speaking of that, stock futures are a little changed as investors await the Fed decision. So right now, the overall picture is we hit an all-time high in late October. 2/3 of the way through November, we had this fake out breakdown that ended up becoming a pretty solid recovery, and then we just got caught up into a decent amount of positive gamma, not the most we've ever seen, but price action just really stalled out. We are slightly below the all-time high, and we are slightly above this downside gap fill. Pretty much similar situation in the NASDAQ. All-time high in late October. We sold off, fake out breakdown, strong recovery, and now we're just kind of drifting up. We're very close to this upside gap fill at 25,887. You might want to mark that out today. If the Fed decision proves to be, I guess, dovish, and when I say proves to be, what I really mean is the market's interpretation of what Powell is saying and doing ends up being dovish. Yeah, that is completely in play today. And if it ends up being noteworthy in how hawkish it is, well, yeah, then you have this downside gap fill to 25,069. And on SPX, there is a downside gap fill to 6776. So you might want to mark those all out on your chart. But in terms of the holistic picture, we're not at an all-time high, but we're pretty darn close. And basically, today is the day that's going to set us up for, are we getting the Santa Claus rally? If you've been trading for pretty much any amount of time, you've probably heard this term before, and it relates to the seasonal skew of the end of the year and the start of January favoring the bulls. Now, does December and January always favor the bulls? No, but just by the time you average out all the data, it is much smarter to be a bull in that time period if you're just arbitrarily to pick than it is to be a bear. So what I think is going to be happening is I believe today's decision and events and updates and new positioning from large institutional players is either going to be setting the foundation for that Santa Claus rally into the end of the year, into the start of January, or we're going to end up effectively double topping and get sent all the way back down probably to the 50 EMA if it ends up being hawkish, aka bearish. So I believe today's events are going to be the start of the next leg, and that might be bullish, might be bearish. Obviously, I cannot predict how the market is going to react. I can tell you we're going to get a 25 bips rate cut, but unless you already broke into Jerome Powell's computer and know what he's going to say in the speech, there's really no idea to know if he's going to be hawkish or dovish. And also, we don't know how the market's going to react and perceive what he is saying. You might think it's hawkish, someone else might think it's dovish. So we have to wait for the quote unquote crowd, as in the market itself, to really react to this. So what I'm attempting to do, my personal plan, is actually to kind of do nothing and let the dust settle here. Look at the new positioning, specifically within the options market, maybe a little bit in the New York Stock Exchange in a general sense, and see how the big players position after the events today and maybe even a little bit tomorrow, and then see if I can ride that next trend, ideally for the next 2 to 3 weeks. Like I said, these are my own thoughts and opinions, and don't let a man in a very beautiful buffalo dress, I wish it were a dress, shirt get in the way. I'm just trying to dress it up and make it seem all fancy, but at the end of the day, it's your accounts, it's your decisions. I'm not your mom. You're in control of your own money. I'm just letting you know what I'm doing, and when it comes to days like this, of course, it's very important just to keep your sizing in control. So that's kind of the headline of it. Now let's get into a little bit of the nitty-gritty. Trump touts economy in Pennsylvania speech, blaming Democrats for rising costs. President calls Democrats' focus on affordability a hoax in campaign-style remarks. This in itself is it's kind of like a catch-22, because right here, Trump wants the economy to seem strong because, of course, we associate, as a person within the U.S., we associate a president doing a good job with a strong economy. I'm not saying that's the only thing we associate it with, but that's commonly a marker of, did the president do a good job? What's interesting about this is he wants the economy to be perceived as very strong. However, the stronger it's perceived to be, the odds of a rate cut is less. And obviously, Trump wants rates low. So he's in this weird catch-22 where he wants everyone to admit and agree with him that the economy is strong. However, if the economy is strong, we still have some inflation issues, so we're probably not going to get rate cuts. The only time we're really going to get rate cuts when the inflation is a bit elevated actually is if the economy is weak. So he's doing this weird juggling act where he simultaneously wants everyone to think the economy is strong, as in voters, but then he wants the Fed to think it's kind of weak so he can get a rate cut. And in reality, you can't have both of those, especially when inflation is a bit higher than it should be. So kind of a strange catch-22, which always is going to make it interesting to see his Truth Social posts later today after Powell speaks. And basically he's going to, I would assume, call him too late, pal, or something, like call him stupid or something like that. But it is kind of a paradoxical situation where he wants everyone to think the economy is strong, but he wants the Fed to think it's weak because he wants everyone to think it's strong, obviously, so his ratings go up. However, he wants the Fed to think it's weak, so rates get cut. So kind of an interesting situation that we're in, and obviously it's all going down at 2 p.m. today. Fed interest rate decision, 14 o'clock East Coast time. Yes, we will be streaming it. We're doing this morning stream, and if you're watching later today, yes, we will be streaming that. And just so you know, the results come out at 2. We're also going to be getting the summary of economic projections. You get those every other FOMC meeting. That's where all the individual members of the FOMC give us their prediction of where GDP is going, inflation's going, various other measures, unemployment, and that's that dot plot thing. It kind of looks like a weird little dot Christmas tree type of a situation. So those ones tend to have even more of an impact, even more of a wallop. So that's also coming out at 2 p.m. And then obviously at 2:30, Jerome Powell will be speaking. Heading into this, little bit of frothiness in the market. And one way I could show you that is not only the fact that global bond yields hit a 16-year high on fading rate cut bets, but on top of that, stability is legitimately low. Looking at the options market right now, 18% stability. Not much stability to be found. It looks like that's roughly the amount of mental stability I had getting through college. Pretty freaking low, almost unable to be measured. Here's actually a pretty good one from Bloomberg. Let's give this a quick listen.
What do you make of the yields rising this morning?
Look, the first thing is we have to step back and understand something, that bond market cycles are very long-legged things, and the 40-year bond bull market ended at the pandemic lows in 2020. And when you think of, and Anne-Marie, you just detailed all of the reasons that yields are going higher, and the answer is yes to every single one of them. You put it together, in our mind, if you think about it, it's almost remarkable that the confluence of the U.S. being the premier destination for capital has actually caused spreads against global bond markets to compress. You know, if you had said to me Japanese 10-year yields were going to be close to 2%, I would have told you at the beginning of the year that U.S. 10-year yields would be close to 5%, and we're not there. But all of these pressures are building, in our mind, towards higher yields.
So what does that mean in layman terms? Buckle up, partner, because we're going on a ride. So we're seeing a little bit of interesting movement in the bond and yield market already this morning on a global scale. Here in the U.S., we now know from our bond market that there's about a 90% chance of a 25 bips rate cut. As I said in the update video yesterday, we're currently at 3.75% for the federal interest rate, and there's an 90% chance that we're dropping to a 3.5% after this one. What's cool about this tool is you could start to run forward and see like, okay, the odds of other situations. And as of this moment, they're actually pricing in only a 20% chance of a rate cut in January, as in there's a 72% chance that we stay at 3.5 after today's cut. And there's even a 10% chance, technically an 8% chance, that we actually get a rate increase. So looking forward, this is in a weird situation where it's not like guaranteed cut. In fact, right now, the market is actually telling us after this one, there might not be a cut for a little bit of time. So I know that's looking a bit more into the future, but I just kind of want to give you an idea of like how we see things playing out, not only for this meeting, but obviously our next meeting is in January, and then we skip a month and then go to March. And then even looking at March, there's a 54% chance that we're still at 3.5%. Obviously, from there, there's a 40% chance of some form of cut. But remember, I'm fast forwarding all the way to March. The market is not that confident that the Fed fund rate is going to lower that much from here on out. Maybe we get a cut from here, but it's going to be obviously very, very dependent, oddly coming back to what Trump was saying, of the economy. If the economy is super strong and the labor market is showing a lot of strength and resilience, we're not going to get rate cuts. However, if the economy weakens and specifically the labor market softens, that's when you're going to see the increase of these rate cuts. So like I said, it's a pretty strange balancing act. And in terms of Trump getting everything he wants, a strong economy and a lower rate, it doesn't necessarily work like that, at least not in the short term. But anyway, bringing it back today, look, even though the CME watch tool is 90% confident of a rate cut, the event market call sheet is 97% confident, and obviously so is Polymarket. They're pretty much the same, both at 97%. So we're getting a 25 bips rate cut without a doubt. So the thing that's really going to be impactful is not the rate cut. The market's already pricing that in. If you are here, I mean, I posted that video yesterday and people are saying we're not getting a rate cut in December. Yes, we are. I mean, the markets are pretty good at analyzing this type of a thing, especially when things such as like the Taylor route, that type of stuff. We already know the pieces of information that the Fed takes into account. It's publicly available. You could push it into your own equation and you're going to realize off the base equation that we're getting a 25 bips rate cut. It's not some sort of like grand prediction. Not at all. That's not how it works. So the question here is, if we already know we're getting a 25 bips rate cut, we already know that, and it's already priced in with like maybe a 3% error, like we're 97% confident. The thing here is like, really, okay, what is Powell going to say and what's going to be in the SEP? The Fed decision expected to be feature rate cut and a lot more. Here's what to expect. So this time around, we're kind of wondering not only what's going to be in the SEP. Of course, we're going to learn a little bit about some of these dissenting voices. Oops, sorry, I skipped ahead by one. Fed cut this week maybe last for a while. So as I just showed you on the CME watch tool, looking forward into January into March, the market's not that confident we're going to get another rate cut. And it's going to get interesting this time around because for the last two FOMC meetings, we've actually had dissenting votes. A lot of the times these FOMC situations, everyone unanimously agrees. There's no dissenting vote. But ever since Mirren got put onto the voting committee, we've started to have dissenting votes. And this last time around, it was the first time in quite a while that we had a dissenting vote in both directions. The last FOMC meeting, we did in fact have a 25 bips rate cut. That's what the majority voted for. But we had one dissenting vote for a 50 bips rate cut, and we had another dissenting vote for no rate cut whatsoever. So the fact that they dissented in opposite directions is actually a big rarity, at least within the U.S. central bank. So this time around, the market's going to be looking at that, and it's going to be attempting to discern why people were dissenting and what were they looking at. And then they're going to try to extrapolate that forward of what does that mean for the chance of a rate cut in January? What does that mean for a rate cut in March? So that's going to be a big one on top of the SEP, because that's just another piece of information of we're seeing where they're looking ahead, and we're going to be able to discern, ideally, at least a bit more accurately. It's not going to be completely lucid, but we're going to have this idea of like, okay, what's happening in January? What's in March? All of a sudden, the models, if you will, are going to be a bit more confident. But one thing that you really don't get often is what in the world is happening with the next Fed chair. Let me remind you that Jerome Powell, the current chairman of the Fed, his tenure ends in May of 2026, which means that we're going to be finding out the next Fed chair apparently pretty soon. Trump plans final interviews with Fed chair candidates in coming days. The president said that it will be looking for a couple of different people for Fed chair. Now, with that being said, the market is pretty confident that it's Kevin Hassett, 71% chance. Granted, his odds are dropping a little bit. Not long ago, he was at 81. Not long ago, he was at 83, but he's still coming in at a strong 71. Kevin Hassett is currently a member of the administration. He is the director of the National Economic Council. It's very, if he is selected, which he most likely will be selected, it means that we're going to probably have the most clear political Fed of all time. Now, I know many of you, especially on Rumble and probably on YouTube, you're going to yell at me and say, the Fed is always political. I get that. I don't disagree. But at least before this, they put in an effort to try to doll it up that they're not political. Like, just enough to be like, no, look it, we did X, Y, Z, and we didn't say that. So clearly we're not political. This would be the first time where it is like just straight up in our face. Like, this guy is coming directly from the administration. If you look at his commentary in the past, he's like, hey, I'm going to go wherever Trump says to me. It's pretty much as political as it can get. And once again, I'm not saying that the previous selections have not been political. Remember, Jerome Powell was put into his position by Trump. He was a Trump appointee. In the past, it was political, but at least they try to, I don't know, the bedside service of at least trying to doll it up. And now this time it'll be pretty much in our face. And that is now getting to an interesting survey here. Hassett likely the next Fed chair, but most think Trump should nominate someone else. So I thought this was kind of an interesting breakdown. So right here, according to CNBC survey, they are 84% confident it will be Hassett, but only 11% think it should be Hassett. Who they really think it should be is Waller. And then 5% think it will be Waller. So kind of an interesting survey, and then Warsh also getting some numbers. So it seems like it's basically between Hassett and Waller. Waller is already a voting member of the FOMC. He's already on the Fed. So I guess most people think it should be him. I obviously don't know like each of their individual like reasoning for why, but it is interesting to see that breakdown. And then right here, Fed Funds Future Outlook forecast from the CNBC survey. So we're currently at that 3.75. They are expecting us to drop to 3.5. And then in 2026, they are expecting, I suppose from there, 2 additional cuts, and then for not much to happen in 2027. So from here on out, the current expectation is for 2 additional rate cuts, or maybe even potentially 1, depending on what number you're really going to be focusing on. So if you're out there thinking, oh man, we're just going to continue to get rate cut in 2026, we're kind of in the realm of either 1 or 2. That is what the market is currently anticipating. And I thought this was pretty solid from CNBC this morning, just kind of setting up the overall situation for the day.
The latest CNBC Fed survey is out, and Steve Leisman has the highlights on that. Steve,
Steve
good morning.
Leisman.
Hey, good morning, Becky. Respondents to the CNBC Fed survey showing or expecting a hawkish cut. That is a cut followed by a pause, but also showing
a hawkish
deep
cut.
Divisions over whether the Fed should cut at all, likely reflecting the same split on the committee. Take a look. 87% think the Fed will cut this week, but only 45% think the Fed should cut. That's a kind of historic differential there for our survey. 2 dissents are expected. That's the median. And only 35% are expecting a rate cut come January. Scott Wren of Wells Fargo Investment Institute writes in, the Fed will cut in December, even though you can make a very rational argument that they should not do anything. The biggest risks out there to the economy, well, continued high inflation, sort of surging to the top. It had been number 4. The AI bubble bursting, that's been there, or that's a new entrant there. The concern about Fed independence, the fiscal deficit, and administrative policy uncertainty rounding out the top 5 risks to the economy. Meanwhile, the growth outlook has been ticking up, running at 2% this year and higher next year, while inflation forecast to remain above the 2% target. So that's part of the problem there. Diane Swonk, chief economist, KPMG, says most are underappreciating the likely stimulus due to record tax refunds in the first half of 2026. That means we're also likely understating the risk that inflation could stick. And not much downside here seen in the job market, with the unemployment rate rising only a few tenths, or forecast to do so next year, and declining a bit in 2027. Still, several respondents are saying the Fed needs to cut here because of potential weakness in the job market. Alan Sinai of Decision Economics writes in, the Federal Reserve is behind the curve again, this time on the widespread weakening of the labor market. A preemptive 50 basis point cut in the federal funds rate is the right thing to do. And that maybe explains what motivates the cut at this meeting. The greater risk, or the belief on the Fed that the greater risk is that when all this data finally come out, and that is next week, it's going to show a weak labor market more than the risk that it's going to show higher inflation. Becky?
So, not that anyone cares, because who cares about opinions at the end of the day? You just have to follow price action. The market is king. So I know you don't care about my opinion, but in my opinion, a 25 bips is appropriate. And then if you were to ask me about January, I would say, I don't know. I need December and January information. I need to know what's going on with the job market. I need to know what's going on with the unemployment rate. I need to know what's going on with inflation. I need more information, because remember, the BLS during the government shutdown wasn't really giving us any information. So at a certain point, all these people are super confident in their analysis of what should happen, and it gets me questioning, what are you basing this off of when we don't have anything? So for me, this time around, I think it's appropriate for the 25 bips rate cut. Basic rudimentary analysis of what's going on with the job market, what's going on with inflation. And then from that moment, I have no special prediction moving forward, because we don't have the information. So what's the point in making a prediction when it's just a random guess, or at least in my opinion, it is a random guess. Obviously, that's with respect to today and monetary policy, a little bit looking forward, overall market. But I do want to remind you, there's some fun stuff going on in the world of individual equities. After the market closes today, Oracle, big name in the world of tech, obviously, but also right now a little bit of TikTok, and this is going to be an impactful one. Remember, when Oracle reported last time, it reaped so much that it made Larry Ellison the most wealthy man in the world. He surpassed Elon Musk. So this thing can move. And looking at the options market right now, the implied move from options is 9.5%. So this will be reporting after the market closes today, and then after the market closes tomorrow, Broadcom, Avago, ABGO, that is anticipating to move 6.5%, which is a huge move for the second largest semiconductor play. So Oracle tonight, Broadcom, definitely worthwhile to pay attention to. You also might care about Adobe, you might care about Lululemon, you might care about Costco, but the two I'm very much paying attention. One today, Oracle, 9.5% expected move, and then one tomorrow, AVGO, Broadcom, expect a move of 6.5%. And then also, we got some interesting news. SpaceX to pursue a 2026 IPO, raising far above $30 billion. SpaceX is moving ahead with plans for an initial public offering that would seek to raise significantly more than $30 billion. Folks, we're talking about the largest IPO ever known to man. The company is targeting a valuation of $1.5 trillion. That would automatically make it a top 10 publicly traded company in the entire world. For the entire company and pursuing a listing as soon as mid to late 2026, SpaceX expects to use some of the funds raised in an IPO to develop space-based data centers, including purchasing the chips required to run them. So it sounds like some sci-fi stuff. Some sci-fi, like legit sci-fi stuff.
Julia, how significant then would this IPO be?
Tom, it's really a significant IPO if it comes to pass. As you said, it's targeting to raise well over $30 billion, which would put it far ahead of the previous IPO record set by Saudi Aramco back in 2019 when it raised $29 billion. It's also a hugely well-known name. It's the world's most prolific launcher of rockets. It dominates the space industry. And it's currently doing an insider share sale at a valuation of over $800 billion, which makes it the world's most highly valued private company. And it's one of a number of these high-profile tech companies which are still private and have raised copious amounts of money privately, all the while delaying going public. So an IPO of a name like SpaceX would be a huge test of the market and of investors' demand for a name like this, as well as a test of the ongoing recovery in US IPOs that we've been seeing over the past few years.
Yeah, it could be a significant indicator on that front, couldn't it, Julia? What do we know about the rationale, the logic for SpaceX pursuing an IPO when they've been able to raise capital on the private markets very easily?
Well, it's partly down to the fact of its Starlink satellite internet business, which is growing at a really fast pace. It's accounting for the majority of its revenues, and there's also the promise of a direct-to-mobile business. So all of this requires continued investment, and obviously it has been doing that privately, but the public markets might be the way to go. There's also its Starship rocket, which is designed or planned to carry a huge number of Starlink satellites and eventually cargo and people to the moon, and then to Mars. So all of this requires a really high investment. And we've also learned that SpaceX is planning to use some of the funds in the IPO to develop space-based data centers, as well as purchasing the chips needed to run them. So it's clearly all basically designed to continue funding its fast growth and to keep it a leader in the space industry.
You guys know that I do not like playing IPOs out of the gate because generally you're just paying too much, but I will definitely be at least buying one share of SpaceX just to say I got in on day one. And then whenever I see that first initial dip after IPO, I'll be buying more. I want to be a long-term investor in this stock from day one. Obviously my personal opinion, but I'm very, very, very excited for it. Beyond excited for it. When you tell me about space data centers and giving the entire world the internet, seems like a multi-trillion-dollar company to me. Dingity ding ding ding. The world's largest casino is now open. Best of luck to all. Play responsibly, and if not, have fun. Folks, it is an FOMC Fed interest date Wednesday, which means if you're looking to sell premium, it will not be decaying until probably after 3 p.m. Implied vol will most likely remain considerably high up until we have the release of all those data points and announcements and all that good jazz. Until then, of course, I'm watching momentum right now. 5-minute little bearish, 10-minute little bearish, 30-minute definitely bearish, 4 hours actually bullish. Looking at the NASDAQ, 5 minutes a bit bearish, 10 minutes a bit bearish, 30 minutes a bit bearish, 4 hours actually bullish. Looking at the SPX levels here, actually I'll go out. These are the key levels I'm watching today. As I always do, I mark out the previous high, low, and close. And as you can see, we're already below the low value from yesterday. Not necessarily the best sign, but of course, I am expecting larger ranges today. If you played the upside gap fill, it's still going. Oh, looks like we actually already got it in minute one. So sorry, but if you played it right out of the gate, congrats. That hit very quickly. The white box is the transition zone, and the yellow horizontal lines are all the key levels where we see a lot of money already positioned in terms of open interest on the options market. We're seeing some people already at 800, 810. We're seeing some people right here at 840. Other people are at 60, 75, and 6,900. You can see there's a lot of negative gamma on the map today, which once again is slippery price action. It is not bullish. It is not bearish. It just means when you get going, you can really get going. And we're not really seeing positive gamma until you get above 6,900 or below 6,725. And that's exactly why we have such low stability, is because we are expecting some legitimate moves today. So as always, feel free to use these levels. Feel free to write them down. Feel free to screenshot them. Feel free to do whatever you want. But for me, yes, I'm going to be watching them now this morning, but I think they're going to come into more important play when we get closer to that FOMC announcement. If you were looking at this, if you're trading NQ out of the gate, obviously a natural target is the low from 5:30 this morning, which we're about to hit down here at 6:15. Maybe we bounce off of that, maybe we don't, but I love playing these ranges, the overnight range of the high and the low. It's taken out in excess of 85% of the time, one of these extremes, and sometimes both of them. But like here, if you were bearish out of the gate, you already just hit your target. Like, it is a very, very strong play just because the stats are so favorable to taking out at least one of these extremes. And then, of course, if there's any big, Palantir's green, Nvidia's break even, Apple's green, Tesla's green. I did make a new position. Microsoft's getting hit this morning. Did I miss any negative news on Microsoft? Someone said Avago's getting hit. It's not even down 1%, and we're on an FOMC day. Microsoft's down 2.2%. That's kind of sizable. Palantir's up 1.4%. Rare to have Microsoft. I mean, that's a gap down in itself. Did I miss any news there? That's a bit interesting. Microsoft has not been able to catch its footing. Speaking of ones not catching its footing, Meta potential rejection. I still haven't purchased it for my long-term account yet. I'd love to get it closer to 550. There is this downside gap fill from April of 2025. I don't know if it's ever going to get there, though. This might be the bottom, so we'll have to wait and see. MSFT India news. What happened in India? I think I saw that. Wasn't it something about investing in AI in India? Why would that be received so poorly by the market? I guess we could take a second a little bit later on and dive into that as we're just waiting for this opening session to really play out. But while we're letting it play out, let me remind you that the opening bell is brought to you by Take Profit Trader. Right here, code Goonie, 30% off, no activation fee, and 100% of your initial test refunded on your first payout. Once again, with code Goonie, Take Profit Trader is one of the best deals right now. Apex deal is no longer running. So with code Goonie, 30% off, no activation fee when you pass the eval. And then when you get your first payout, your initial test fee is going to be refunded to you, as in you can go all the way to a payout and actually get it for free. So that's awesome. Pinned to the top of chat in the description of the video. And then the other one currently running a really good deal is Funded Futures Network. 50% off. So for a 50K account, instead of being $150, it's $75. And then for $75, when you buy when you get one. So for $75, you're getting two, and there's no activation fee when you upgrade it. So another very good deal right now. So of course, as I always pitch to you, I don't think you should have loyalty to one firm. I think you should go to the firm that you think you have the best odds of getting a payout with their rules, and just shop around and find the best deals. And right now, I would argue that Funded Futures Network, 50% off, buy one, get one, no activation fee, and Take Profit Trader, 30% off, no activation fee, and 100% of your initial test refunded. I like both of those right now. I still have my Apex accounts, of course, because I've been trading them forever, but I do have new TPT accounts, and I also do have new Funded Futures Network account. And actually, my FFN accounts, I was trying to trade a new system overnight, and it did not go well. Can you guys see this over here? Overnight, they were trading, and it took 3 hits of about $300. I had this idea of how cool would it be if I come up with a new system that trades for me overnight, and then I'm able to wake up to green in the morning, profits in the morning. It's just this concept recently that's been bouncing around in my mind of make money while you sleep. So I've been working on that, and I've been doing some research lately, and apparently I haven't been doing enough research. It took 3. It went 0 for 3. Like, well, you would think even if it's 50-50 that I should have hit at least one of those. How does your boy go 0 for 3? I just took a 15-point hit, a 15-point hit, and I think the last one was a 20-point hit. So I'm not feeling the best about that, but it is just an eval. Obviously, you can see on these other accounts, I made one little scalp trade, and I actually did this last night. So if you're here saying, hey, like you made a little bit of money, I did that to protect myself from myself. If you've been watching since December of last year, you know that I've had the worst time trading my accounts on FOMC days. Like, I'm talking complete tilted, spiraling, insane, degenerate gambling action. And when I trade my futures accounts on these days, it does not end well for me. So what did I do is when the market opened up at 6 p.m. last night, I got in a trade. I was like, Matt, just get a quick little scalp in. It's going to be good. This is like the thing to do. And you guys would not believe it. So let me show you something funny. You guys are going to crack up at this. And remember, the entire sentiment of why I did this was, okay, like, let's just not take on any risk, like blah, blah, blah. Like, let's just be smart about this. Where was 6 p.m.? 6 p.m., 6 p.m., 6 p.m. All right, right here. So this is the 1 minute chart. We opened up at 6 p.m. right here. And I went into this, I said, okay, Matt, it's technically the new trading day because of the Globex session. Just get in one little scalp trade. I said, cool. All right. So the market opens right here, 6 p.m. We pop. I'm like, okay, we're above all these EMAs. Maybe I should lean a little bit more bullish. It makes sense. People are anticipating the Fed to be dovish. Like, it all made sense in my mind. So I waited 1 minute and I thought, okay, cool beans. I waited 1 more minute because we're dipping a little bit. So right here on this breakout, at 84, I figure let's just trade one contract. There's no way it could go bad if you trade one contract. So I went long one contract and I needed to lock in just over $50. So I set it for 3 points. So I got long at 84 and I needed it to hit 87. Well, as you can see, I was there at 6:02 p.m. I went long at 84. I needed it to hit 87. It didn't even get up to 86. So it broke out there. And then this trade was at 6:02 p.m. I had to sit there from 6:02. I just sat there minute over minute over minute over minute over minute. And I just kept thinking to myself, how are you so fucking stupid? What the fuck? And I just sat there and I was screaming and I was screaming and I'm yelling. Dude, folks, we're a good hour into it. I'm screaming. I'm about to break my monitor and it's getting worse. I'm long at 84. I'm like, what did you do? What the fuck were you possibly doing? And then out of nowhere, after waiting an entire hour, boom, boom, these 2 minutes just ripped and I got filled at basically 7 p.m. So sitting for an entire hour just to get 3 points after going down however much, that's how I got these trades right here. So like what was meant to just be like a run of the mill, just scalp trade, get in and out, ended up turning out to be horrible. And then I was like, oh, cool. Like I got the alert that I got the fill and everything. I was like stoked. And then a couple minutes after that, I was like, damn, I should have waited. I could have got even more money. And then it was one of those moments of like massive relief where I turned back to the markets and then they just got completely destroyed later. Like it actually got really, really bad. So in a weird way, a situation where I felt like I got super unlucky, it turns out I got really lucky because after that, look how bad it got. It just got destroyed all the way down to 40. And then granted, we had another pop. There was a bigger pop and then it gave that whole pop back. But dude, for what was meant to be a basic scalp trade for me, a basic scalp trade. I'm talking like, hey, Matt, get in, get out, get your $50 because that's what counts as a profitable day, blah, blah, blah. Dude, it was a battle. It was a battle. So that was the one scalp trade that was apparently from hell. So I'm done with these accounts. Basically, I'm trying to relate this to from last December all the way up until now. Me trading on FOMC days is horrible. So I got my one scalp trade in. I'm done. All these accounts are looking pretty good. I did take a $500 loss per account. So I lost 7.5K yesterday, but whatever. It's variance. I was unlucky. Shit happens. Today, I do have a winning day, small scalp trade. I am done with these. I'm done with Apex on the day. I'm done with Take Profit Trader on the day. And I thought, okay, if you don't want to trade during the day, maybe just run the new algo overnight. And I just took 3 hits in a row. So I might screw around with these a bit today because the deal's so cheap. These 2 accounts together only cost me $75. And I guess it was somewhat worth it in terms of testing the new system. It just honestly did not go my way. So I suppose it is what it is, but maybe I can make a good trade here or there. But anyway, that's a very roundabout way for me to tell you I'm just waiting for the right setup. I'm waiting for the right time. I did not have the easiest 6 p.m. start of the new session at all. I feel lucky that those accounts somehow made a comeback, and we'll see how today plays out. But if you want to take advantage of the current FFN deal, once again, code Goonie. And if you want to take advantage of the current TPT deal, once again, code Goonie. In my estimation, these are the 2 best deals currently going on in terms of firms that I also trust. I don't trust MFF or whatever, my funded futures. I don't trust FF, what is that? The other one, funded. These names are all similar, but there's one that recently people have been getting into and something weird about. If I'm talking about it, if I'm using it, it's because I trust them. Of course, the list is dynamic. It can change. Some of the ones I use right now, maybe in the future, I'm not going to trust them. Or maybe there's ones I currently don't trust that maybe they'll change the rules, or I'll trust them a little bit more. So it is a dynamic situation. Remember, always take in new information, and I think that's the best way to handle it. But for right now, the 3 that I really do trust are Apex, Take Profit Trader, and Funded Futures Network. Apex is currently not running a deal. Their deal just concluded yesterday. Take Profit Trader and Funded Futures Network currently running a deal. Actually, FFN end-of-year giveaway, 5 50K eval accounts and 4 50K funded live accounts. Purchase any account or reset, 50% off, no activation fee, buy one, get one. Valid from December 8th up to January 2nd. Who purchases any evaluation account automatically entered to win live accounts. Oh, so they're doing a giveaway of live accounts and evals. And if you purchase one, you're automatically put into it. That's kind of cool. But anyway, it appears to be running for pretty much a whole month, December 8th. Today's the 10th. So it just started all the way up to January 2nd. All right. With respect to options flow. Oh, I know this doesn't have an impact on the market, but hang on. What is this win impact kilo? Okay. Let me update this. I just want to know the flow. So the Mag 7 got hit. S&P 500 is actually climbing. Folks, Matt's favorite firm is Top Step. Definitely not. Definitely not at all. It's actually so bad at Top Step. I don't know why anyone uses them, but I guess, hey, if you want to burn your money, feel free to burn your money. On a quick note of drama that I got myself involved in, folks, we watched that video yesterday, and guess what? I got blocked. We watched that one video exposing Trader's Paradise, and then apparently I got blocked. No one wants to play in the sandbox with me. I guess no one wants to build sandcastles in the sandbox with Matt Kohrs. I think it's your fault, honestly, folks. You guys are like, let's watch the video. And then we watched it, and this scumbag got exposed for being a scumbag, and then it got me blocked. Like, what did I do? I didn't do any of his scummy actions about lying in my trading and blowing up a hedge fund and just generally being a creep. But there we go. You guys got me blocked. So I just want to say thanks for that one, team. I'm not going to take ownership. That's all on you. What video I missed it? I tweeted it out. You can see it. It's on my Twitter page. But basically, there's this like wannabe influencer who thinks he's hot shit, and in reality, he's an absolute fucking nobody. But more than that, he's a horrible trader. Yes. Did he blow up a hedge fund? Yes. Did he ruin a prop firm with the new rules because he wanted that and it screwed it over for everyone using it? Yes. Like, so just as a human, he's horrible. But what really gets me about him, and you don't have to fact check me on this, or you should fact check me on this. You don't have to take my word for this. He's just a creepy guy. Like, you know how there's some people in this world who, whatever, you see them talk, you see them behave, you see how they just generically look, and you're like, dude, something is off. I don't know why. I don't have any evidence of this, but my spidey senses are tingling that he's an absolute creep. And I actually find that to be more egregious than everything else. I find it to be more egregious than him being a horrible trader, than him being a fake trader, than him being a sim trader, than him being a guy who blew up a hedge fund, than him being a guy who just leeches off his girlfriend, apparently, like of just being an asshole in a general sense. The thing that I find to be the most concerning is how incredibly creepy he is. And like I said, I feel like the moms in the audience would understand what I'm saying. Go watch the video, and I bet you, I'd bet you $1 that you're like, yeah, no, that's a creepy guy. Like something's off there. Like my spidey senses are tingling, and whenever that guy gets going, it's my creep radar just goes off. Like it's a 10 out of 10. It's kind of like, you know how like you could check for radiation and it goes beep, 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 beep. Like when you get really close to a lot of radiation, that's it. That's the exact thing that's going on whenever I see any picture of that guy. Whenever I hear him talk, it's just my creep radar spikes 100 out of 10 potentially. It's almost like it would be equivalent to if you took one of those radar sensors and went to like Chernobyl, of like you just maxed it out, just absolutely maxed it out. But yeah, it's on Twitter. We watched it yesterday. You guys got me banned, so I guess just another fucking creep has now banned me or blocked me on X/Twitter. It happens. Whoever blocked you is a fucking pussy. So many weak ass shit these days. Yeah. So he went from trying to challenge me to a trading competition as a nobody to then blocking me because he can't handle the heat in the kitchen, team. He cannot handle the heat in the kitchen. You know, sometimes your boy's just cooking up some pancakes and things get a little hostile in here. You guys have been here. A Geiger counter. That's what I was just thinking of. At least someone in this audience is smart. My brain was not firing. I feel like my brain hasn't been firing well ever since Nam, if you ask me. But yeah, no, Geiger counter. Geiger counter. I knew a guy once, last name Geiger. He was actually the Penn State, he held the ball for the kicker. He was on the Penn State football team, and he was the ball holder for Ficken back in the day, if you guys remember him. And he was also my partner in computer science classes. Matt can't spell. No, but that was also before Nam. I could never spell. I was never hooked on phonics as a child. Creepier than Trey? I never thought Trey was creepy. I never got a creepy vibe from Trey, but that was just me. Maybe you guys did. I got I kind of felt bad for him. I got a dumb vibe, and I got the vibe that everyone around him was taking advantage of him. Matt, real question, NASCAR or Formula One? I'm going to say Formula One because I've never watched NASCAR, so I don't have anything negative to say about it, but I also have just nothing to compare it to. I've only watched Formula One. So just by like default, the fact that I like Formula One and I might love NASCAR. I might be the NASCAR dude. I just haven't seen it. None of you guys have ever invited me to one of the races or anything. And it seems fun. I don't know, I've watched Talladega Nights and that makes it seem super, super fun. I've just never watched it on TV. I've never watched it in person. But it seems really cool, I guess. F1 equals drinking wine on a boat. I am not against drinking wine on a boat, but I'm also not against drinking beer at a barbecue. Like I'm a man of many talents, and I can both drink wine on a boat and drink beer at a barbecue. Like I have few skills, but I do have the ability to do both of those things. MotoGP. The only thing I know about MotoGP is it the Isle of Man race? Like there's one particular motorcycle race that like legitimately every year people die. And it seems absolutely nuts. I watched a mini doc on that, and that one seemed pretty cool. Not that people die, just that people have, I guess, no sense of fear or self-preservation, and they'll fly at like 200 miles per hour and just rip it. All right, so the SPY is looking strong. Mag 7 got hit, attempting to recover a little bit. I'm seeing a bit of a price bounce here at 635 on NQ. Rally racing is beast. Isle is different. Yeah, Isle of Man. I watched this like mini doc, and it truly blew my mind what some people do in this world. Like it's just insane. Like truly, truly, truly insane. All right, we got the 10-minute Orbo breakout, barely. We pulled back. Now what do we have going on? BattleBots is where it's at. Beyblade? You trying to watch a little bit of Beyblade? Dude, as a kid, there was a moment in my life where I was like, yeah, one day technology is going to get good enough that we could have legitimate Beyblade battles. And the fact that scientists have not yet figured that out kind of bums me out. I don't know what scientists are like. What I feel like we have some lazy ass scientists these days. The fact that we don't have real competitive Beyblade leagues, like what are they doing, dude? Like why are they just arguing about random ass like numbers and shit with each other? Like go work on the real stuff. The world wants Beyblades. Give us Beyblades, and we don't have it. It's only just fictionalized at this point. It's a bummer, dude. It's a big bummer. I want real life Pokemon battles, dude. There's so many things that our scientists should be working on, and if you ask me, they're coming off as a little bit lazy. The other Matt is live on YouTube. I checked him out for a minute. Hella cringe. Yeah, isn't he creepy? Dude, I wouldn't steer you guys the wrong way. 10 out of 10 creep. Matt, you're clearly not paying attention. There are tons of professional Beyblades. Yeah, but not like Beyblades. The technology itself is not like we saw in the show. It's not even close. Like they eventually just don't turn anymore and then they fall over because gravity wins out. I'm saying our scientists need to get to like the legit level. What's the whole deal with Kabuto King thing and horsing the cards? It's just one guy who's trying to collect the first edition of one specific Pokemon card. He's trying to get them all. And he just like, there were some auctions and stuff. I don't know. Basically, it was just one autistic guy who came up with an awesome idea. And then it ended up taking the internet by storm. And now it's just ripping. But yeah, it's it's the first edition of a specific type of Pokemon card that he's trying to collect all in existence. And just because it's so odd as a thing to do, it ended up taking storm of the internet. Dude's gonna have fun trying to sell them. I don't think he wants to. I think his idea is to capture the entire market on them. I believe his idea is to like literally have them all. Trades by Matt live, but the video said the faker pretends to be trades by Matt. Exactly. So there's multiple Matts in this world because I guess if you were born in the 80s or 90s, apparently all moms wanted to name their kid Matt for whatever reason. And like I said, my mom's guilty of that as well. But yeah, because he blew up a hedge fund, what was it, under Day Trader Paradise or something like that, he wanted to use a new name. So he basically, because people call him Matt, he took another person's name because they already had created a digital footprint. So it does get a little bit confusing. You can watch the video, but Trades by Matt, the actual one, I have no issues with him. I've seen some of his content. Seems like a cool dude. But the fake Trades by Matt, aka this creepy guy, Creepy Matt, I think it's easier if we just refer to him as Creepy Matt. Creepy Matt basically tried to take a very similar name to hide his previous digital footprint. So basically there's Trades by Matt, there's Creepy Matt, and then there's Buffalo Matt. You guys are currently watching Buffalo Matt. Why the fuck do you all keep talking about them? Because it was just news as of last night and as of this morning. We watched that video. I got blocked. We're kind of just waiting for the market to open and seeing how things are chilling for the 30-minute Orbo. Like we're not really seeing too much go on in the world of the market at the moment. So I suppose we're just kind of waiting to see how this plays out. Multiple days in a row. Well, technically 2 is multiple, so you're not wrong there. I guess it's just because it's news within the ecosystem of prop trading. So we're just kind of covering news within the ecosystem of prop trading. So he's Matt and you're Mark, just trying to keep you guys separate. We're trying to all figure it out. How's rum looking? It's holding $7. It's up, 50%? I mean, it bounced off the mid-5s. Dude, the Russell is really getting stoked for this rate cut. Remember, small cap, plays tend to react the most bullishly for cheaper capital, which is what happens when you get the rate cut. And you could already see that today. The Qs are down by 0.4. SPY's basically break even while the Russell's actually green. So it's like the Spider-Man meme. Yeah, exactly. Is the short squeeze energy on rum decreasing? I don't know what short squeeze energy is. I wouldn't know how to measure it. I think I understand what you're talking about in a conceptual sense, but remember, when it comes to the market, we want our decisions to be led by actual data we can measure, like empirical evidence. So I don't know how to quantify short squeeze energy. Russell's old and wash. Wasn't sure which Matt was creepy. Matt took 30 seconds of watching their lives to determine. Dude, that's what I'm saying, right? Isn't it crazy how evident it is? It's just right in your face. Owners of the companies are pumped for the cut. Well, yeah, for them, especially as a small cap business, they're going to need, if you need capital, obviously it's a business advantage for capital be cheaper, as in the loan rate to be less, and loan rates drop when rates get cut. That is pretty clear. All right, I'm looking. No, I'm not seeing any big movement over here. Mag 7 isn't holding that well, but the SPY. So this is the opposite of yesterday. So yesterday, the SPY was having a horrible day the whole day while the Mag 7 was strong. And today, pretty much starting at 9:35, it just got hit flat. And it's just call selling. Calls were flat, got sold, flat, or getting sold right now. A little bit of put buying, but not much going on. And once again, that's specific to the Mag 7, the combo of these 7 companies. And then looking at the S&P 500, it's telling a little bit of a different story. Puts were bought and then quickly sold, and then calls were being purchased, and we're kind of going flat ever since then. So there was, at market open, a little bit of an attempt to crack the S&P 500, and it was very short-lived, and then there was a pretty decent recovery, while on the flip side, the Mag 7 is actually bleeding off to new intraday low. With respect to momentum, 5-minute is barely bullish, 10-minute is testing, 30-minute is bearish. 5-minute is bearish, 10-minute is bearish, and 30-minute is bearish on the NASDAQ 100. So momentum and options flow right now telling us a slightly different story across the world. Hey, real Matt, what if creepy Matt is the one pretending to be you in Discord? I wouldn't be surprised actually at all, because as that investigation showed, he's scammed many people in the past, and he's done a lot of sketchy stuff on Discord. I know you're joking a little bit, but one of the things in the Discord is people realize he had all these accounts. He's had paid mods, people faking reviews as if they were real traders, and they were mods just signing NDAs, all this crazy stuff. He's just a scam artist. He is a run-of-the-mill scam artist, just in the new era of technology and trading. So as much as you're joking, I legitimately wouldn't be surprised. If you move to Jacksonville, Florida, you have to attend Daytona 500, always around Valentine's Day. Well, why do I have to live there? Why can't I just go there to enjoy it? I mean, doesn't everyone? I feel like that's an event to do in the U.S. I feel like a lot of people travel for the Daytona 500. I almost got scammed by the fake Matt in your Discord. Folks, just so you know, I am never reaching out to you for a special trading opportunity. I'm never asking you to send cryptos to some random place. Double check the name. And then also, if you're in the Discord, if you think I'm DMing you, you could always ask me in voice chat, hey, Matt, did you just DM me? The answer is going to be no. I'm never DMing any individual person about a financial opportunity. And it always starts out in a sketchy way of how's your trading going? Do you want to be a member of this private group? I'm not DMing you. You're having it right here. You're listening to me. I am not reaching out to you. And if you really think I am, email me. Ask me an email, media@MatthewKohrs.com. DM me on Twitter. DM me on Instagram. Ask me in voice chat on Discord. There's so many ways for you to make sure. And I'm just letting you know, it's not me. It's not me. Protects Indian scammer Matt Arch is here. Add discount codes for free months or 2 PAs, or you crash in some of your giveaways, maybe? Wait, what? Add Discord codes for free months or 2 instead of PAs, or cash in some your giveaways, maybe. I don't think that's English. Discord is already free for the first month. Yeah, the first month is already free to everyone, which I Well, I am getting rid of that, but you can take advantage of it now. Not that I'm really publicizing that, but this will probably be the last month or two of the freebie month because it's getting a little bit tiresome of people basically just abusing it for the free month, causing headaches, and then moving on. I messaged Matt on Twitter calling him a monster for not turning on the astronaut moon, and he still hasn't replied. The moon is on. What? Data that is measurable, like when I get a hunch. Exactly. That's the type of information we are talking about, folks. When you have a hunch, that's when you should be trading. Exactly what I'm talking about. At least someone in here gets it. At least one of my viewers is finally paying attention. We are here exclusively to trade on hunches. Nothing more, nothing less. If you're not trading on hunches, what are you doing? Is anything moving well this morning? Not really. Folks, shout out some names that are interesting to watch right now because I'm not seeing anything. Ooh, SoFi. SoFi is getting a nice little movement there. CoreWeave is getting destroyed. Is anything moving right now? I'm not even seeing movement to DGen. Like, what are you guys seeing? Gut feelings are never wrong. Nvidia, no, Nvidia is not. Like, nothing's moving right now. You think Nvidia is moving? Didn't GME have earnings down 5.7%? That's a shocker. That's a shocker. Google, Marvel, Palantir, at least, I mean, it's swinging, I guess, larger ranges, I suppose. Nothing's really getting going yet in either direction today. Google might be picking up a little bit. RKT, Palantir. All right, we'll leave Palantir up. I'm kind of watching for this trend line breakout. We'll make this blue. We'll make this a blue. We'll make this a blue. We'll see what goes on here.
Order submitted.
Vibes. All right, I'm looking at a little bit of a potential breakout right here. We had these lower highs, we had these higher lows, might be knocking on the door of a breakout. The Mag 7 is actually still trending down, but the S&P 500 is trending up, and we happen to be right smack dab in the middle of the transition zone. Also, surprise, surprise, right at that closing value from yesterday. So we're barely green, pretty much as neutral as it can possibly get, folks. Pretty much as neutral as it can possibly get. We kept wicking below the, here, I'll go to the 5 minute. You might be able to see it a bit better. We kept wicking below the overnight low, wick. So maybe there's enough buying going on in here to get this breakout above 40. And then from there, I'd be looking at the test of 60, which is just kind of an important EMA line. Looking at Bookmap, whoa. There is a large amount of sellers scattered between 32 and 40. So if that cracks, it might get a little bit of a pop, but there's definitely a concerted effort right here. A lot of pending sell orders. Now, just because they're pending, that doesn't mean they have to stay there. They could pull them, they could add to them, they can reduce them, they can change them. But just right now, in real time, there's people trying to sell right around 35. I'm curious if they're going to get taken out. We recently had this wick up to 40. Kind of just looking at the structure. Yeah, so 35 to 40. This seems to be a big wall. So if it can take it out, that's kind of exciting. I'd be looking for a push back up to the point of control at 660. But once again, that is a big if, because we'd have to take this out. So one potential trade plan is you take out 35, 40. You could pay attention to 50, which is VWAP, but I'd be looking for the overshoot up to the point of control, the POC, right here at 660. But just kind of seeing the structure on the day of how this is played out. We cracked it. We tried to recover it. Nope. Support turned into resistance. And right now we're just knocking on that door of said resistance. Looking at the current S&P 500. Oh, Chris from Rumble is in chat. Shout out, Chris. Folks, it's not often that we get to hang out with the CEO, founder, and chairman. Send in a little bit of gold this way. Folks, let me show you what's going on right over here. Can you guys see that? Or is my big head blocking it? Shout out to Chris. Everyone in Rumble chat. Hey, the guy kind of leading the mission over here is in chat. Shout out to Chris. Got a little bit of gold right there. And actually, oddly enough, I'm already getting the notification on my Rumble wallet. A little XAUT. If you guys don't know what XAUT is, it's gold, obviously on the blockchain. Pretty cool. Shout out to Chris. Chris, you might have missed it, but someone was just in here asking about Rumble, asking about what's going on, and we were taking a little peek at it. Folks, let me go to the daily chart. Let me show you guys what's going on. Why we've been talking about it is because it is currently up 37% from this low. At one point, it was up 52%. And obviously, that in itself is a very interesting gain just because it's so sizable within the 2 to 3 weeks. Like just the ability to move that much. Hang on, let me log into this platform. What is my password over here? How do I always forget what account I use on Ortex. But why it's uniquely interesting is because auth redirect. Okay, I think I'm in. Right here. Maybe later. Done. RUM. That's the ticker symbol for Rumble. Why it's so interesting is because the short interest is rather elevated, 22%, taking a breather off of 25. Cost to borrow right now, the average is 19.88. We'll call it 20%. Utilization's almost maxed out. Shares on loan anywhere from 24.5 million. Well, we know there's 50 million on loan, but the short interest is anywhere from 24.5 million all the way up to potentially 50. Days to cover kind of sky high at 6.75. The short interest is anywhere from 177 million estimated, potentially double that. So obviously that could be closer to $350 million because once again, some of these are the estimate numbers from Ortex and then some of them are just the numbers straight from trading data. But these players, not only are they paying this cost to borrow, obviously, but we can see exactly where we can't see exactly where they got him. That it's not proper for me to say that, but we can get a pretty strong opinion of where they started to create this position. You could see the spike in the short interest, the spike in the short interest value, days to cover, short interest, shares on loan, cost to borrow. It all started to spike at the end of November. So roughly this zone, which means they're just underwater. So not only are they underwater from the fact that they have to pay this cost to borrow, but they're underwater from like legitimately just the price movement. So we made a video on it. They're more of a full-fledged video. Feel free to check it out. It's up on Rumble and on YouTube where you can see the definition of what these words mean. Obviously, kind of gave me some flashbacks to the old GameStop and AMC days where you have to dive into all these metrics. But very interesting that Ortex is calling out this short score of almost 85, kind of some interesting stuff, especially on a day where we're talking about how the Fed interest rate is going to get cut, and then that should benefit smaller companies. So I'm curious how the Rumble, which would be in that world of the Russell 2000, is going to end up reacting. But I do like how, from a momentum perspective, it's holding above this cloud. So I want to see if it could base off of this, and then obviously just push that recent high. We'll see. Should be fun. Speaking of that, well, Palantir is starting to go. Google's actually starting to go. I'm in a position here. I should probably move this stop to break even. I'm just trading. I'm not trading on the Apex accounts or the take profit accounts. Just so you folks know, I'm trading on the FFN accounts right here. These two live positions. A little bit of rejection. Remember when I said, "Oh, I don't think it's going to get rejected at VWAP. I think it's going to overshoot it and go to 60." Well, apparently I was freaking wrong because exactly where it got rejected was exactly VWAP. It was exactly the volume weighted average price. Remember when I was like, "Oh, like literally 5 minutes ago." I was looking at 50, which is a key psychological level. It's also today a key technical level. I was all like, oh, we're going to take it out and we're going to go up to VWAP. Yeah. Your boy was very evidently wrong on that particular one because we got exactly rejected at VWAP. So that's a bit of a bummer for me because like we literally perfectly wicked it. So here's to hoping that that's not a actual rejection and we just can keep going. I'm trying to unload one here at this previous high that we saw at 947 this morning. And then the next one I'm going to do at 700 flat. 700 flat, and then also this wick high. Actually, what is this high? That's 72. We'll move it down to 70. All right, so I'm trying to unload at 70 and 700 and hoping that this current trend of higher highs and higher lows on the NASDAQ holds. I'm hoping this is just a higher low here so I don't have to take much heat. And then we go up to VWAP, break, and rip. That's the plan. We'll see if the market agrees to that particular plan. Why am I doing this? Well, basically, I was playing this technical breakout here on the Qs. I was looking at the S&P 500 flow, which seemed to show a bit of strength. I see some put selling. I see some call buying. So I was just trying to play basically the recapture from the red to green. This white horizontal line is the closing value on the S&P 500 from yesterday. And I figured, okay, pumped, pulled back, higher low, we're pumping again. I thought there was a shot that maybe we would go up to 60, maybe even 65. That was what was going on in my brain. Is it going to play out? I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. Going to be Badlands Daily, later Moon Gang. Yeah, there's going to be some movement this morning, obviously, as people are jockeying for position, but the real excitement starts at 2 p.m. today. Remember, 2 p.m. Eastern. 2 p.m. Eastern is when we are going to get the Fed interest rate decision and the SEP and the summary of economic projections. That all comes out at 2, and then at 2:30, Jerome Powell will be speaking. Look at that recovery on Palantir. Look at that freaking recovery on Palantir. Oh, wait, I think I already got my profits on Palantir. I was looking at, for those of you in the Discord, you knew I was in a Palantir position, but it does not look like that actually matters because I already got the fill yesterday. So I'm just waiting. I'm still in the Apple position, the Avago position, and the Tesla position for those of you in the Discord who are a little bit curious. And I am underwater on Tesla and Apple by a smidge, and I am up on Avago. Actually, I'm almost about to get my fill on Avago. Almost, I think. It depends on how things go today. Where's Avago at? It's actually going down. So if Avago pushes 406, 407 today, I should be able to get my fill. And honestly, I would love to be out of that position before the earnings, just because that's a binary event that I don't necessarily feel like dealing with, you know? I find that sometimes when I'm wondering if Lady Luck is on my side, she is in fact not on my side. So I need to be a bit careful about that one. Oh, brother, are we getting this breakout or not? I can't believe we got so smacked. I mean, it didn't even give it a little bit of a shot. It didn't even give me visions of grandeur of this VWAP breakout. It just kissed it like a cousin right here. Overshot 50 to the tune of 2 points. We hit 52 and said, nah, I'm good, and smack. It happens. It happens. The question for me is how to de-risk from here. I am really thinking about moving my risk up to 21. It's rather close right now. I'd feel a bit better of it if we take out 44, really 50. My actual trading plan at this moment is on the retest of VWAP, moving my stop up to break even. I don't know if that's going to happen. And if it doesn't happen, I should probably come up with a better plan. 13, but at that point doesn't want to test 600. Things are starting to look a little bit rocky over here. Starting to look a little bit rocky, like potentially a failed movement here on the S&P 500. We got going, smacked at 44. How's the flow looking? Starting to turn a bit. That's not good for my play. I need this to quickly bottom, and the Mag 7 is also still not looking good. With respect to momentum, on the S&P 500, 5 minutes bullish, 10 minutes trying to go bullish, 30-minute got clearly rejected. Also tried to get going there and got smacked, and the 4-hour is still bullish. Looking at the NASDAQ, 5-minute is bearish, 10-minute is bearish, 30-minute is bearish, 4 hours trying to hold on bullish. This clearly got smacked right at that 50 level. Not the highest vibes for my play, folks. Matt, how long does it take for Apex to turn Apex eval into a PA as soon as you pay the fee within minutes? I've never had to wait like any considerable amount of time. Literally, it's just you pay the upgrade fee, and within minutes I get emails. Congrats. Why is VWAP on Bookmap different than your chart? It is not. They're the same thing. Same measure, same thing. The volume weighted average price. You technically can change where it's anchored from. You have the ability to start it at 9:30 if you want. Some people do the anchoring from regular trading hours. Other people do it from the session open at 6 p.m. Eastern the previous day. So you have to be careful about where you're starting the calculation from. But if it started from the same place, it's going to be the same answer. Super chat Matt versus big scam Matty Man. I always thought that was the most interesting thing. People were angry that other people sent me super chats. Like, imagine being angry at a restaurant for tipping your waiter. The super chat thing, it always blew my mind back in the AMC days because it was never forced upon anyone at any time. It was a volunteer tip thing. It's a donation. That's what tips are. Same with Rumble Ramps. And the fact that people got mad in the AMC days that other people were tipping, why, dude? It's a tip. It's a donation. That always fascinated me. It really came off as like an extreme amount of jealousy that they just happened to not be getting like donations themselves. But hey, I mean, I guess that's the internet for you. Sometimes it's just crazy. I love how you handled it. Oh, the super chat shirt. We sold so much of that shirt that we raised either 20, I think it was 20. I don't think it was 25, but we raised $20,000 from that shirt. Dude, there's a lot of those shirts in existence. A lot of those shirts. Do you know how many shirts you have to sell to raise $20,000 for St. Jude? That was a lot of super chat shirts. I bet many of you in chat right now have that shirt still. Have you helped a bunch of us make thousands? We want to show you support. And thank you. I appreciate that. And I don't want anyone to ever feel that that is like needed or required. It's not. If you want to send it in, awesome. And if you don't, also awesome. Like it doesn't, it's not forced. Matt, those days when you were doing 100K options was crazy. It was. Not good for my mental health, though. Not good for my mental health. All right, we are going back up to this level 50. Let's see if there's a VWAP breakout. Maybe I could de-risk here and get these stops to break even. Maybe I'll put one at break even and put the other one at this recent swing low. I'm looking for this break of 50. Bookmap right here. VWAP is the exact same right there. Pretty much 50. What do we have going on? I want to zoom out. I'm really watching this point of control because that's where we got smacked a little bit earlier at 9:45 today. That's where we got smacked a little bit earlier. Right here. I'm seeing the sell orders start to go up, which is giving me hope that we can at least get an attempt to break above 50, and then the POC is right here at 60. But anyway, VWAP, mine is measuring at 49.70, and then right here, just below 50. They're the exact same value. I use the same VWAP in terms of the anchoring point. You might be able to gain information if you use a couple different ones. The yellow line isn't VWAP. No, for the gazillionth fucking time, every time we talk about it, I say point of control. When I say point of control and then hover over the thing that says POC, as in point of control, that's point of control. That's two different things. You have point of control right here, POC, that's what point of control stands for. And then you have this white line over here, which is VWAP. But that just kind of shows on the internet that as much as you say the exact same thing over and over and over again, you always just need to say it a couple thousand more times for it really to get home. But POC, point of control, that is not VWAP. Point of control is where the most volume has been traded, like as in on that specific one. And you can see this over here, that spike is just where the most volume has been traded. Hence why it gets the name point of control, because just most has been traded there. And then the VWAP is the volume weighted average price. So it takes all the trades into account based on size, and it comes up with the average price of the day of the transaction. And we're slightly below that. Generally, they're close to each other. Obviously, sometimes like mathematically, they do get a bit different. But you can see here we're at 49 and here we're at 660. Matt must feel like a special education teacher sometimes. Sometimes I do. And sometimes I feel like a not so special teacher as well. Point of POC, the point of confusion. In this particular instance, it is the point of confusion. But hey, we all have to start somewhere. We all at a certain point, it's taught to all of us, and maybe we just all learn those things at different points. I get it. But once again, the POC, the point of control, is the particular price that has the most transactions. The volume weighted average price is taking into account all trades and coming up with the average trade value based on how many lots, in this case, were traded at each individual price. So from a mathematical standpoint, they are slightly different. And I probably should move my stop to break even here. I mean, that low is right above. Yeah, this is the smart thing to do. All right, a little bit of risk management. I have a freebie trade. As you can see, my stop is right where my entry is. I'm looking for a VWAP breakout. Maybe it's a cup and handle. I see higher lows. I feel as if I'm playing with momentum. Maybe I'm right. Maybe I'm wrong. But at the end of the day, I'm risking nothing. It's a freebie trade. Stop is at break even. Best case scenario, I make money. Worst case scenario, I am break even. So when your worst case scenario is just scratch, hey, if you do that a ton of times, you're going to be looking pretty good. If your VWAP isn't a perfect horizontal line, you're trading wrong. That's one way to look at it. That is one way to look at it. I like that you like your indicators. I like that you like your indicators. I guess I've never thought about it that way. You like that. You find that there's a lot of content creators who don't like their indicators. You're kind of breaking my brain a little bit. What does this statement mean? I like that you like your indicators. Corey, I can feel my brain breaking. What does that mean? You like that I like my indicators. As in, you're finding it to be a prolific issue within the space that people are using indicators that they don't like? Someone needs to break this one down for me. I like that he likes that you like your indicators. A lot of price action traders have zero indicators. That's fine, but we're talking about the concept of me liking my indicators. I need what Corey is smoking. Maybe. Who did you tell that to? My favorite question to ask Drunk as a Bar. Who did he tell you that to? Who did he tell you that to? I think it's a backhanded compliment that I like my indicator. I've never thought about like the appeal of like, oh my God, I like it so much. Or like this idea of maybe you use an indicator that you don't like. You're like, fuck this indicator. Like it sounds like there's almost like an emotional tie to certain indicators, which is what's breaking my brain. I know you know that I know you. What? Dude, we are spiraling today. Folks, get all the laughs and the ha-has and the hee-hees out of your system now, because this afternoon, it's nothing but business. I'm giving you guys a little bit of a leeway for the moment. I get it. We're all excited. It's basically Christmas Eve for degenerate traders like ourselves, and Santa Claus is coming down the chimney in a mere 3.5 hours. But folks, when that fat boy starts coming down the chimney at 2 p.m. today, it's all business. We're serious people. Remember that. We are serious people. Also, by the way, if you are looking to pass an Apex account test, if you are looking to pass half of a take profit account, looking to pass 40% of a funded futures network, you can degen this 2 p.m. announcement. So actually, I literally just got an email. What is going on? Apex just emailed me about something. But like I said, right now, Take Profit Trader running a phenomenal deal, funded futures. If you're looking just on the eval side to like get a good chunk of it across, yeah, I don't think Apex is running anything. So for these two, yeah, like you can't trade that way. You can't generally like grow your actual funded account that way. But if you're looking just to maybe 50-50 guess right at 2 p.m. the reaction and lock in a big gain, yeah, that's totally an option for you. I'm still on POC not being price of piece of cheese. The more you know. In some circles, it is the piece of cheese. Dude, are we just getting... Here's what's going to happen. This is the third distinct rejection at VWAP. Here's what's going to happen. I'm telling you this right now. Generally, I do not predict, but I can tell you this with a guaranteed, a Matt Kohrs guarantee. It's going to be just enough to wick me out. It's going to come just to these lows, knock me out at break even, and then it's going to rip above VWAP. Yep. Okay. Just got knocked out at break even. That's step one. Now, step two is it just has to be, the market has to be just that guy to say like, F you to me personally, like an individual attack. And now it needs to rocket. Now it's going to be like, all right, cool. We knocked Matt out of the position. I'm telling you, whenever I get knocked out, if you just do the opposite trade, I don't know if that trade fails. I honestly don't know if that trade fails. And now it's good. I'm telling you, folks. The only thing that would stop this from going back up to VWAP and ripping is if I get back into the position. It's because your VWAP is wrong. Yeah, because it's not the POC. The only thing that would stop this market's recovery is if I throw on the position. That's the only thing that might... Palantir is looking good. The only thing that might mess this up, Mag 7 is not looking the best, but SPY is looking strong. It's really trying to hold on to this 40 value. We're kind of just right, man. Everyone is just getting... I don't like this mismatch. 5 minute might be testing. 10 minute is testing. Maybe we want to look for some bearish opportunities. Granted, the SPY flow is bullish, but it kind of stopped. And it is pushing back red. Maybe it's a worthwhile opportunity of if we pop on a fail pop on a lower high, maybe we can try to ride it down to 34, maybe even 27, something like that. It's not the craziest play I've ever heard of. What is that? 34, 29. VWAP, we build up. A little bit of a potential trend line breakdown here. We're kind of struggling. Smack that VWAP, smack that VWAP, smack that VWAP, smack that VWAP, smack that VWAP. I was trying to play the breakout, like I said, out for break even. The losses were from 3 overnight trades that I am not necessarily proud of, but I'm also not necessarily sad about because I don't know what happened. They were just overnight when I was sleeping, and sometimes shit happens. Is this little bounce going to fail? Technically, we just came down to this 10-15 low. Like I said, just enough to knock me out. Knocked me out at 26. We dipped to 21, 22, and then I would have been green. It's just how it goes. The one thing you can always really count on... Oh, what is Apex? I just got an email from Apex. The 90% off mega sale is live. Ho, ho, hold on to your sleigh because December deal brings the holiday savings your audience will love. And it's a major opportunity for you to drive. 90% off. 90% off. Lifetime PA specials. 65. So the Wow, 90% off. So it's $84 all in on the 25, 50, and 100K accounts, and $144 all in on the 150, 250, and 300K. The resets are $60, 1 day to pass, no consistency rule, up to 20 PA accounts. Interesting. Oh, Jake Heath, you blew out? I'm sorry, man. Oh, hey, Tom, don't you say that. Tom's saying an inappropriate word. Tom's being bad.
Order submitted.
All right. I'm taking a stab at this potential change of trend, and I'm just going to use VWAP as my admission that I'm wrong if we bounce back up to it. I was basically waiting for this test. It popped, seemed to start failing. Maybe I'm wrong. It might just be a higher low. We might just go from here. But really, I'm kind of looking at the fact that right here, I saw on my other screen that the S&P 500 is starting to seemingly lose its closing value from yesterday, and it might even be making another run at yesterday's low, which is 37, which would set up a test of the intraday low at 34. And if SPX does get down to 34, well, I should be looking pretty good on my NQ position. Unfortunately, I was right on SPX, which is going down, but the Qs are not going down. So I guess I just picked the wrong asset because I was literally just saying, oh, S&P 500 is failing, and I thought it'd be good on NQ because S&P 500 delta flow was the strong thing, while Mag 7 was the weak one. So I thought the Mag 7 would be even weaker, but just my luck. Apparently, when the strong thing starts to show weakness, the weak thing decides to do nothing. So I guess that's where we're at. I don't use stops. I camouflage. Dude, that's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. A lot of people won't tell you the honest, earnest truth about this, but you can never lose if you never have stops. Think about it. How would you ever have a loss if you never have a stop? That inherently your stop can't be hit. Inherently, you can't take a losing trade if you don't have a stop. It's science, folks. I'll be the one to explain it. I'll be the one to say it. You can't take a loss if you never have a stop. Just never admit you're wrong. Just rip it. Just always keep dollar cost averaging. Mag 7 is bleeding off. SPY is starting to turn a little bit. 5 minute is pushing bearish. 10 minute is pushing bearish. 30 minute is bearish. 4 hour is testing. 5 minute is bearish. 10 minute is bearish. 30 minute is bearish. 4 hour is bullish. But we are really just range bound. Like in this opening craziness, the first, 9:30 to 9:45, we had a little bit of, we pushed some decent range from 72 down to 68. So there was 100 points there. But ever since then, from 9:50 until now, folks, we're not doing anything. We're just not doing anything. We're just grinding around these EMAs. Mag 7 is getting hit. There are people selling calls, and now starting at 10:25, people are buying puts. Looking at the S&P 500, there was a decent amount of call buying this morning, and then right here at 10:30 turned into call selling and put buying. Am I green? Oh, I am green. Hell yeah. Santa Claus. Santa Claus. Santa Claus. Oh, your boy is green. Green. What is this low? That low is 87. So we're going to go to 88. This low is 67. So we're going to go to 68. All right, I'm targeting that low. I'm targeting that low. My stops are at break even. It's a freebie play. Yes, of course, it might bounce off of 600 and rip all the way back up and knock me out for break even, which would mean that would be the second trade of the day that I live stream to you where I'm up $1,000 and I go back and get knocked out for break even. And you know what happened there? You'd be like, oh my God, Matt's so stupid. That's the second time he did it today. He's so stupid. He's so incredibly fucking dumb. I hate him. I hate him. I hate him. And I'm going to read all those comments and I'm going to act really like tough about it. I'll be like, that doesn't bother me. I stuck to my trading plan. You don't know shit. Sometimes variance is just not on your side. I'll come up with some like really like cool sounding like mathematical term. I'll be like, oh, you forgot about the expected value and you got to have winners to pay off your losers. But in reality, you're breaking my spirit. And I'm going to end up crying into my pillow like a middle school girl because the internet is just picking on me. And really, the fact that I'm having such an emotional outburst is really just the fact that I'm covering up the fact that I know you're right and I'm mad I didn't take the money. So we're going to see how this one goes. We're going to see how this one goes. Is today the second time in the same trading session that I could be getting myself out of $1,000 hole? Maybe. Or am I going to fumble it? Am I going to be like Jalen Hurts and get a double fumble on the same play? Did you guys know that he's the only NFL quarterback to ever do that? To have two turnovers in the exact same play? That when I say I'm the Jalen Hurts of trading, I'm not talking about all those tush-push touchdowns. I'm talking about the fact that I can do a double turnover in the same play. I want to clarify. That's the level that I'm at. Wow, I'm super glad you didn't overreact. Yeah, that's the one thing you guys can count on when you come to this show. It's just calm as a cucumber. Calm as a cucumber. Lock it in, duck boy. Maybe. I don't know. Fifth ad, awesome stuff. That's not me. Go yell at YouTube. Go buy YouTube Premium. We turn our ad, like as a creator, you have the ability to turn your like ad rates down really low, and ours are on the least possible, and yet we still have people complaining about it. But that's quite the swing around. I was down 1,000. I could have been back to break even, and then I could have now been up 2K, but instead I'm fighting to maybe get this fill at 68, which I am predicting will, I know for most of the year of 2025, I was telling you guys you shouldn't predict, and there's no such thing as a holy grail. I just want to let you guys know that I'm changing that up in the year 2026. In next calendar year, you have about 2 to 3 more weeks of me saying, just react, don't predict. It's a game of variance. I'm now going to be switching it up, and I'm letting you guys know, but I'm going to say no. There is a model that perfectly predicts the market. It is simply human psychology, and based on previous human psychological reactions, we can map that forward, and we're going to be predicting what they're going to be doing based on recent empirical evidence of psychological reaction. So I just want to let you guys know that you have about 2 to 3 more weeks of me attempting not to predict and just react and risk management. But for the year of 2026, I fully plan on saying we are predicting everything. And then what I'm going to do, here's my sneaky thought, is what I'm going to do is whenever it's right, I'm really going to amplify that and be like, see, I told you it works, obviously. And then whenever it doesn't work, I'm just going to come up with some like whatever excuse, like, oh, they're hunting my stops. Oh, too many people are trading around my levels, or like blah, blah, blah. I'm going to come up with an excuse, and I'm specifically going to not amplify it. And I'm going to kind of just like push it under the rug so you guys hopefully quickly forget about it. So just throwing that one out there. No stops 2026. So that's what you guys have to look forward to in the upcoming content. I just flip a coin anytime. I'm going to take a trade and it tells me which way I'm going to go. Sick. I predicted you would say that. Son of a gun. It's going to be a good one. No stops 2026. I should probably update. Nah, fuck it. I'm not moving anything. If this doesn't hit 68, it means the markets are rigged. I am predicting this will get hit. And if it doesn't get hit, that means that they've changed the algorithm that I created. See, I told you it would get hit. Didn't question it for a second. This is what happens when you're like me, when you're the person who the dark pools call up and say, hey, what should we do with the dark pools today? It just becomes incredibly easy to do this. Incredibly easy to do it. But locked in 1,000, locked in 1,000, locked in $70 on all these other accounts. Locked in $140 on these accounts. Easy peasy lemon squeezies, folks. Just another day in the office. Matt going full Candace Owens on gaslighting? No. What I'm going to do this upcoming year is going to make Candace Owens blush. She's going to think, wow, he took gaslighting to a whole new level. That's a good callback, or not really a callback. I guess it just means you're currently up to date on, I suppose, like current internet drama. But no, it will like completely dwarf what she is doing. What I'm about to pull off. You're a genius. You stopped your loss at break even, went short, not caring about emotions, not being biased, and just sticking to the chart. Martin, I swear to God, if you give away my strategy one more time, we're going to have a serious fucking issue. I'm going to sue you for ruining my day. I'm very litigious. And I will bring you to the Supreme Court for ruining my entire morning, brother. Martin, don't push me. Don't you push me. You don't want to do this. You don't want to do this right now. Martin, if that is your real name, it's probably an alias. Your real name is Ruin Matt's fucking day. Matt rhymes with bucket Kohrs. That is some rocket scooter energy. Exactly. Someone gets it. Dude, look at that bottom tick. I told you, I predict the market. I am the algorithm. Is anyone in here surprised that I bottom ticked this one right here? Is anyone here whatsoever surprised that I was the bottom of the market? It gives me my vote. Folks, it's because I made the algorithm. It's just, I just will it into existence. You know how they say it's a simulation? Well, you happen to stumble across the show of the guy running the simulation. Liam, the lawyers are coming. I saw you commented that, and he's like, what? That was funny, Liam. Matt is the Matrix. Hell yeah. How do you feel about it could be real money after like 15K day? How do you feel about it could be real money after like a 15K day? Well, the fact that it's not real money, it's kind of like it's almost real money, but you have to do a lot of other things and then it becomes real money. It never really like, it doesn't matter to me until I can get to the point of actual requests. So emotionally, when I have those 15K days, it doesn't feel like that at all. Like when I have a 15K day trading options in my own account that I could take out right there, it's much more of a dopamine rush than 15K over here because I know I can't access the money. We have found the next ICT. No. I'm the guy who taught ICT what he knows. ICT was the Temu version of me, for sure. When you're praying to the market gods, oh wait, you already deleted the comment. What do I do when I pray to the market gods? Generally, I'm just on my knees saying, please don't fuck me over, please don't fuck me over, please don't fuck me over, please don't fuck me over. The fees are real money. I mean, folks, what is money anyway? If the Fed can just print it, if you could just swipe a little plastic card and get what you want, like what is commerce? What is business? What is money? Folks, like it just, none of this matters. All that, dude, if we really like define in this world, things of value. So you're trying to talk about money and the cultural impact and what can you buy. The only thing that, like, when you distill everything down in this world, the only thing that matters at all, like of true merit, of true value add to your life, the only thing that matters is cracking open cold ones with your boys on the weekend. I beg of someone to try to prove that statement wrong. Like, seriously. The only thing in this world that is of like true, tangible value is cracking open cold ones with your boys on the weekend. Other than that, everything's fugazi. It's made up. It's taken away. It's all numbers in a screen. It doesn't matter. There's no impact. Just simply has no lasting impact whatsoever. And I can't think of anything else. AA stroke was actually caused by nanobots injected by dark pools because the vibrations told them to stop the MOS. Adam Aaron had a stroke? Is that true? Couldn't have happened to a better guy. Hitting the fishing guild. That's true. That actually has quite a bit of value. Just catching shrimp on old school RuneScape. Crack and cold ones, or cracking open a cold one, two different things. Depends on the time of the year. And also, are you in a cut phase or a bulk phase, I would say. And fill in the gap. Yeah, actually that part is true. On what part? AA? Adam Aaron stroke. AMC Theaters CEO Adam Aaron had a minor stroke, expects a full recovery given his mental acuity and physical resilience. Adam Aaron remains in full command. Yeah. This is a guy who just screams mental acuity and physical resilience. He just the body of a Adonis and the mind of an Einstein, like all just captured in this one body. Jesus Christ, mental acuity and physical resilience. It just kind of proves you could put anything on the internet these days. He looks 180. No, he looks physically resilient and someone with high mental acuity. It's better to crack open a cold one on a yacht than under a bridge. Hey, it's better to have a bottle in front of me than a frontal lobotomy. The real ones know. The real ones know. Mag 7 is still continuing to bleed. S&P 500. I know it was a bit of a joke, but Jesus, what this was like a legit bottom tick. Look at that exit. Look at that entry. Bada bing. Exit number 1. Exit number 2. Dude. Sometimes, honestly, my biggest regret in life is that I can't be you guys watching me. Just watching fucking greatness all over these charts. Like, my biggest regret is that I don't have your vantage point of my prowess. Like, just the shock and awe of fucking LeBron in his prime. This must feel how people were watching the 95 Bulls. This must feel like Super Bowl Tom Brady. Like, you guys, damn. In a weird way, it puts into a new perspective of like, maybe life was hard on Tom Brady. Maybe it was hard on Curry, on LeBron, on Michael Jordan, on Messi. Like, damn. Yeah, you're really missing out. Oh, I can't even keep it straight for that long. I can't. My issue is I can't not laugh at it because it's so fucking insane. At least he always stays humble, and that's why I'm here. I'm so fucking humble. I'm so fucking good at this. So easy. So easy for me. I always feel like the Matt Damon meme from Good Will Hunting. This is so fucking easy for me. Someday, Kohrs, your reveal how much you missed your calling as a comedian. Nah, don't worry about it. I still get a lot of laughs every single time I get naked in front of my wife. She just She says she's laughing with me, but it honestly feels like she's laughing at me. But she says, no, it's just how relationships go. Don't take it too seriously. And then sometimes, like, her name for me, she calls me Micro. Like, she says it's just kind of like, she says she's saying it in jest and with a lot of love. But I don't know. There's this, like, certain vibe I get from it that I don't think she's calling me Micro Matt for no reason. It doesn't feel like we're all laughing at it, especially when she brings it up at Thanksgiving. But whatever. That's just my burden to bear. That's just my burden to bear. Well, that was a quick bounce all the way back. I guess it sucks if you were targeting the SPX low. We did hit that QQQ low, which was a smarter play because remember the Mag 7 was weaker than the S&P 500. Oh, brother, she doesn't even trade you on the minis. No. Micro influencers all. That's what she says, but it doesn't feel that way. It doesn't feel like we're all in on the joke. That's 2 inches over the line. This is getting hurtful, folks. You guys, I have feelings too. I had feelings as well. Oh, brother, what are we doing? Oh, brother. Brother, oh mother. Brother, oh mother. Brother. 717. 717. I was about to go short, but I'm going to actually let it tag 600 first and see how big the bounce is. Physical resilience and mental acuity. Dude, they really just be fucking putting anything on the internet. That should actually get fact checked on Twitter. That is insane. Physical resilience and mental acuity. And that's how they're describing Adam Aaron. That's ridiculous. Like, you'd think at a certain point, even if it's positive, it's still libelous, you know, just to be like, that's just not possible. Damn, maybe I should have gone short at 608. And there she goes. Maybe a tag of 600. A little tagaroo. Are we making a trip back down? Mag 7 try to pop, turning over. SPY is also getting hit right there. Try to go red to green, getting smacked at that. How much is this going to bounce? I'm looking for this 600 retest. Is it going to get up there, though? Is it going to get up there? Potentially not. Is it worthwhile to chase it? Probably not. I feel like whenever you question, is it worthwhile to chase it, the answer is a pretty evident no, but sometimes it feels good. What time does Apex let you buy the PA account after passing? It'll literally say pass PAs on your platform. Submitted. Like when you log in and it'll say pass accounts and you just click on that and it happens. They process it. Hang on. They process it after market close. So it has to be the day you pass it, like that calendar day, you have to wait to at least 5 or 6 p.m. Eastern, and then it'll go from active PA to pass. But it's like literally right on the dashboard. You can't miss it. What account am I trading on right now? Oh, I'm trading on these bad boys. Shit. Hang on. Don't hit it. I have to do math. Stop. 30 35. 80 minus 35, 45. Don't hit it. All right, now it can go. Sorry, I had to do some math, and because I can only make 1,500 per day on these accounts, or I break one of their rules, so I didn't want to overshoot or undershoot that number. Oh brother, oh brother, oh brother, oh mother, oh brother. Whatever, freebie play. At this new offer on Apex, can I see the activation fee? I think it's $65 or something. It says the all-in cost is $84. But right now, because it's the holidays and everyone in this industry is like becoming super competitive, whatever the best deal is, Code Goonie will work. So if you want Take Profit Trader because you like their rules the best, great, Code Goonie. If you like Fund and Futures, great, Code Goonie. If you like Apex, Code Goonie, Goonie, will get you whatever the best deal is. But to be clear, I use all of these accounts. I basically play the pros and the cons off of each other. Oh no. Maybe. No, this has to hit, right? Like legally, it has to hit. We bounce right off of 50. Oh, you could see right where the buyer stepped in, right at 50. Look at that line. We came right down to it. We kissed it like our cousin from Alabama and then popped right back up. Let's see if we're going to go kiss our cousin again. Let's see if we're kissing our cousin again. Is your wife Mexican? No, she's what's referred to as a figment of my imagination. I don't know if she was born there, though, or if that's just her ethnicity. Are you taking out 50? What are we doing here, brother? What are we doing here? You could probably see it. Sorry, I always block the good action when we're selling off because I forget to switch it, but I'm watching these guys. Come on. Fuck. Are you taking these guys out, yes or no? Damn, that's a bummer. It has to work, right? They wouldn't do this to me. They wouldn't put me within 5 points of my fill. Damn, they are going to do this to me. This feels very personal, doesn't it? This particular one. Feels like a super personal attack directly on me that they're not letting me take this profit. 78, 79. All right, I'm officially 1 point in the money. Dude, look at that. Like I told you, it's like kissing your cousin from Alabama. Just like it. I guarantee after this, there's going to be people in my DMs from Alabama like, I never kissed my cousin. Why would you make that joke? You're spreading stereotypes. Oh, I have a good joke for you guys, if you guys don't mind. If you guys are in a joking mood. Why is reverse cowgirl illegal in Alabama? Once again, why is reverse cowgirl illegal in Alabama? Well, it's because you never turn your back on family. It's all right. You guys don't have to laugh. I just keep myself entertained. I have no issue keeping myself entertained. Because your VWAP is wrong. Whatever. Okay, we got some laughs. What do you call a girl with one leg longer than the other? I don't know. What do you call a girl with one leg longer than the other? Dude, we are so far. Hey!
Filled.
Hey, look at that. Look at that. He strikes again. So 1.5K made on 5 accounts. So that's 7.5, 8.5, 9.5 plus another 1,000. So I think I'm up 10K on the day. I should probably call it there, especially on an FOMC day. I'm happy with that. 1,000, 1,000, 1.5, 1.5, 1.5, 1.5. I feel like we're looking pretty good. Eileen, that's funny. Irene, that would be her name if she was Chinese. Irene. And now it's getting racist. Dude, look at these bottom ticks, man. This is what happens when you create the algorithm that runs the market. All right, folks. I should probably call it a day because we're getting into the point of racist jokes, and God forbid we get canceled. You know, no one wants us to have fun. So I'm gonna hang on. Someone brought up a very fair point of like, I got a little bit too much money. I would rather these be 1,500 exactly.
Order canceled. Order canceled. Order canceled.
Right there. Boom. 15, 15, 15, 14.95, 15, 15. He does it again. Dude, honestly, this is what it had to be like to watch Prime Messi, to watch Prime Jordan, to watch Prime Brady, Prime Gordon. I mean, fucking, sometimes I scare myself. Sometimes I legitimately scare myself of the things I'm able to pull off. Like, damn, what an absolute treat for you folks to be able to see this. What an absolute treat. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Well, anyway, check out Take Profit Trader, Funded Futures Network, Apex, Code Goonie, whichever one you like the best, or if you like them all, Code Goonie is going to get you the best deal. We're taking a little bit of a break to go eat a breakfast burrito. Then we're coming back just before 2 p.m. to watch the Fed event. So a little bit of a break right now. Go get your breakfast burrito. We're coming back, call it 1:45, to watch the Fed announcement, the SEP, and also listen to Jerome Powell's speech. So I will see you guys just after lunch. Get your burrito, get yourself a coffee, do your stretches, and I will see you guys in a little bit. I appreciate all the good vibes. Catch you guys in a couple of hours. Don't do anything silly in the meantime, at least things that I went to, and I'll see you in a wee bit. Peace.